The BMW M3's origin begins in the tough and punishing world of racing. BMW desired a car that could compete in DTM while still meeting the FIA's Group A criteria. And for this, BMW chose their E30 platform as the foundation for the new race vehicle. They couldn't, however, just create a one-off automobile for racing reasons. They needed to construct 5,000 road-going replicas of the competition car to fulfill the FIA's homologation standards. And so the BMW E30 M3 was born, the first M3 automobile and the beginning of a true legend. BMW has created several historic M3 versions over the last few decades. However, many consider the E46 M3 to be the greatest ever produced. Ulf Wiedhaus and Martina Bachmann produced the original E46 idea back in 1997. A concept model was shown at the 1999 International Motor Show in Germany, while the final production model was shown in October of 2000 at the Geneva Motor Show. BMW installed a new S54 3.2-liter straight-six engine under the hood of the car, producing 343 horsepower at 7,900 RPM and 360 Newton meters or 266 pound-feet of torque. However, over here in the US, we got 10 horsepower less than the European version at 333 horsepower. While the weight was increased to 1,570 kilos or 3,461 pounds, the extra power allowed the car to go from 0 to 60 in about 5.1 seconds, and some tests even claimed that they did it in 4.8 seconds. The maximum speed was set at 250 kilometers per hour or 155 miles per hour. Engineers paired the strong engine with either a Getrag 420G 6-speed manual transmission or a Getrag 420G based SMG2 6-speed automatic, and this SMG gearbox employed an electro-hydraulically operated clutch, and gears could be changed via the gear shifter or the steering wheel paddles. Engineers substantially reworked the suspension and brake system to boost tuning, and a unique M differential lock was fitted to assist channel power to the rear wheels. The M3 came standard with 18-inch wheels. However, you can get bigger 19-inch wheels as an option, and the interior of the E46 M3 was significantly more lavish and plush than the previous generations. Nappa leather trim was standard and comes in a variety of colors ranging from kiwi yellow to cinnamon brown. An M-badge 3-spoke steering wheel with distinctive stitching, instrument dials with LED lights on the tachometer, and an illuminated gear shifter was also included in the E46 M3. Unlike earlier models of the M3, BMW produced a convertible variant right from the launch of the E46 in 2000. It was similar to the coupe type, but structural reinforcements made it significantly heavier than the hardtop. The convertible M3 was a major success with over 29,000 units made over the car's 6-year lifespan. In the same year, in response to increased rivalry from Audi, BMW's M division commissioned a prototype M3 touring vehicle in 2000. The M3 Touring was created to test the viability of building an M3 model on the existing E46 station wagon, and this was a vehicle that was kept secret for many years. The biggest problem that BMW had here was to make sure that they could fit the wider rear fenders with a standard door from the station wagon E46. While the idea demonstrated that the M3's distinctive expanded rear wheel arches could be paired with the station wagon body, BMW unfortunately opted not to construct this vehicle. BMW planned to enter the American Le Mans series with their E46 M3 in 2001, but the 3.2-liter engine lacked the punch that the race team was looking for. BMW's response was to create a custom 4-liter V8 engine capable of producing 500 horsepower in this race trim. As with the BMW E30 M3, they were required to create 10 road-going vehicles for sale to the general public in order to homologate the M3 GTR for racing. However, BMW were sneaky. They took advantage of the ambiguous requirements and built just 6 vehicles. The M3 GTR road version was tuned to roughly 380 horsepower and was priced at $250,000. The M3 GTR is the rarest M3 ever made, with only 3 legitimate production cars constructed, and with the 3-liter CSL of the 1970s being one of the most legendary BMWs of all time, the 2003 M3 CSL, which stands for Coupe Sport Lightweight, had a lot to live up to. BMW accomplished a terrific job, much to the joy of CSL CSL aficionados, and the M3 CSL is by many recognized as the greatest E46 model ever created, and I tend to agree with that. The CSL, as the name implies, focuses on weight loss. BMW's engineers were able to reduce the weight of the M3 by roughly 10% by employing unique carbon fiber pieces. The weight-saving materials was used on the front and the rear bumpers, on the top panel, the interior panels, and the center console. BMW even went so far as to design a new lightweight molded plastic boot lid, which has this beautiful little ducktail to it, as well as a smaller rear glass panel. The weight savings did not stop there, as the automobile was supplied with lightweight 19-inch alloy wheels, which also look absolutely fantastic. These are covered by stronger, more powerful brakes and are wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport Cup tires. On the inside, much of the sound isolation had been removed, as had the electric seats, navigation system, air condition, and the audio. This was a pure driver's machine, this E46 M3 CSL. Carbon fiber bucket seats replaced the original front seats, and the rear seats also had carbon fiber backing on them. Under the hood, even more carbon fiber was employed, with a new large intake driving air into the upgraded engine. The CSL was capable of doing 0 to 62 miles per hour in 4.9 seconds when using launch control, thanks to 360 horsepower and an upgraded SMG paddle shift gearbox. While the highest speed was limited to 250 kilometers per hour or 155 miles per hour, buyers had the option to remove this limit. BMW engineers redesigned the suspension system with firmer springs and modified shock absorbers to complement the new engine and the lightweight design. The steering ratio was also improved, as was the electronic stability control. The CSL's M-Track mode, which allowed for greater sideways activity before the stability control went in, was one of the most intriguing features. BMW limited the manufacturing of the CSL to only 1,400 units. You could only get this in silver gray or black sapphire color. Another special edition, this time for the UK market, was released in late 2004, and this was the M3 Silverstone edition. This car was produced in 50 units, and all cars painted in Silverstone metallic and outfitted with 19-inch forged double-spoke alloy wheels. 30 of the 50 vehicles constructed were manual, while the remaining 20 equipped with the SMG2 gearbox. BMW released the optional competition pack in December of 2004. The competition pack was only available on the coupe and was known as the Club Sport variant in the UK, and upgrades included 345mm front discs, a faster steering rack, and 19-inch cross-spoke alloy wheels from the CSL. And on top of that, BMW installed custom milled aluminum effect trim and an Alcantara steering wheel on the inside. Instead of buttons for the audio system and cruise control, the steering wheel now had a M-Track mode activation button for the dynamic stability control, which had been retuned in this version to intervene at a higher threshold than previously. Buyers of the competition pack could order a unique Interlagos blue metallic paint option, and it looks absolutely stunning, especially with a tan interior. Within 6 years, BMW manufactured an all-time high of 85,766 E46 M3 cars, more than any other M3 before. Personally, the BMW E46 is one of the best looking 3 Series or BMWs of all time, and I'm gonna show you why right here. These are some of the original sketches or early ideas for the E46. We see that the design here is pretty different from what actually went into production. This looks like it's a sketch from 1992, and you can see that we still have some of this very soft design of the 90s still intact in this sketch. And we also have a softer or rounded front end here that didn't make it into the final E46 design. The E46 is more of a solid unit. The proportions of the E46 is some of the best proportions I've ever seen in a small coupe or sedan. I'm going to show you the side view in just a second. And then we go into some more refined sketches right here. These looks like they are from the same era as this first sketch right here. But if we zoom in, we do have a little bit more structure in these designs. The roofline right here is still pretty round, and it wasn't this round in production, but we're starting to figure out the front end fascia and the rear, because we can see here we have this treatment of the taillight that actually sort of made it it into production with this raised area right here at the very end of the taillights. This looks pretty close to production, but still, it's a very round design, a very soft design with big curvatures on it. And then BMW kept refining these sketches, and here you can see that this looks very close to the production version. This is sketches by Eric Goplin. He is now the creative director of BMW Design Works. And imagine being the person who designed the E46 BMW. I mean, that's a big milestone for any designer. I think this is some of the one of the most timeless designs when it comes to specifically the proportions of the car. So this is what I'm talking about when I talk about proportions. Just have a look at how tight this design is. We have a solid foundation with this big body mass and nothing going on inside of this. We have a lot of horizontal line that stretches out this lengthwise, and it makes it look a lot longer and bigger than it is. We also have these big wide fender flares because this is the M3 competition package that we're looking at right here with the 19-inch CSL wheels. And we have a clear Hofmeister kink right here in the C-pillar, as you can see. The roofline isn't as rounded as it was on the early sketches. They squared it off a little bit more, and also the trunk is also more squared off, creating this three-box design that I love to see in coupes and sedans. A typical three-box design like this with some very solid graphics both in the front and in the rear. And then of course you also have the A-pillar going straight into the center of the wheel front end axle. Exactly what you want if you're designing a sports coupe like this. Now the reason I think BMW has lost some of its, or a lot of its elegance and structure in its design and DNA is this is going to explain it pretty well, I hope. So have a look at the E46 M3 CSL and have a look at the graphics, and everything is in line with each other. The graphics, we have a clear separation between the top part and the lower part. We can see that all the angles have a relation to each other. This angle in the hood right here is related to this angle in the bottom, which is related to this angle, and of course the angle of the interior of the headlight. So if we put these lines out, we can see that they all point in the same direction, creating a very beautiful design and elegant face of the E46 BMW. And now if we look at the new CSL down here, you can see that a lot of these lines got very confusing. We have one line here that doesn't have any connection to the grille. We can't put a line out and see where the grille connects with the headlights, where the headlights connect with the grille. There's a lot of different angles going on here, and it's confusing, and it creates a less of a confident front end for the BMW, specifically when you know that they've created the gorgeous E46 previously. Here we have lines going this way, the interior of the headlight has a different angle to it, and then the grille has another angle to it, and this line is cut by a fourth angle down here, and we have some static vertical lines at the very end of this, in addition to this crease that sits underneath the headlights. What I would like to see is BMW bringing back some of this elegance and confidence in its design. Specifically right now, when you look at BMW, they have a different front face for every single segment of their lineup, which is super confusing, and it dilutes the identity of BMW. So what I would like to see is take the graphics of an E46 and modernize it, keep the same line structure that I have in the E46, and if you take a car like this, the E46 M3, and you modernize it, I can guarantee you that that will sell like crazy.